Hello everybody, just a moment of reflection in our garden and watching the birds really get the hang of these bird feeders now. It's absolutely fantastic. Reflection makes me think of the fact that on Tuesday it is the National Day of Reflection, a year on since the first lockdown was announced, and maybe wonder what we could do. There's going to be a minute's silence at noon on Tuesday, and then at 8 o'clock in the evening they're asking people to shine a light in their windows or put up some sort of poster or something really brightly coloured to recognise that. But it would be good for us to reflect on the year that we've had and on the people, particularly if you know anybody who's died over the year or has been seriously ill. So let's take a moment on Tuesday to do that. But it also, that's the looking back bit, it also made me thought it'd be worth us, the project leaders had a chat this week about getting it right in terms of our current COVID situation. And so there's a few things we just wanted to go through. I'll put it all on the email, but just the sort of headlines there. It's great that so many of you have been vaccinated and so many of our teams have been vaccinated. That's fantastic. But we have to remember, of course, there's that 2 to 3 week window afterwards where you have to wait before there's full of protection. And if anybody, of course, hasn't been vaccinated yet, they're going to obviously have a bit of a pause or a slowdown in April. So please do get booked in, or encourage your team to get booked in the next few days. If in regard to lateral flow tests, what we're saying is that we'll look to reduce our usage of lateral flow tests from March 29th or the start of April, effectively. So if you're working inside with other team members who have been vaccinated and you're not working directly with clients, then you won't need to have a lateral flow test from that point. However, if a team member has not been vaccinated, then they will need to continue to have a lateral flow test before they come into work. We just want to make sure we can give them maximum protection for everybody. If we're interacting with clients outside, obviously, again, that's not a problem, and you won't need lateral flow testing with that. But any clients or interaction where you're working inside with people, then we're going to ask all clients to take a lateral flow test, and anybody else who we know hasn't been vaccinated. So that's the aim, is basically to reduce it down to where we are working specifically with clients inside. Other points, we're going to just continue with the other PPE, continue with the spacing, the social distancing, continue with washing hands and cleaning down after you've used it, continue to wear masks. The one bit we are going to pull back from is the thermometers. Don't worry about taking people's temperature, but do continue to do the track and trace thing in terms of marking in who's coming in each day. As I say, I'll put all of those things down in the email. We have actually got some screens now that David's had made for us. So if you need a screen in one of your settings, I know that Wimborne are using them, and we're going to use them at Stay Safe and on the recovery day. Let us know and we'll see if we can get one to you. So that's the COVID sort of now situation. Looking forward, well, thanks to Emma and Claire and co, the beach hut, which you've had over the winter, has now been cleared, and that's now come to an end. However, the good news is, as we said a few weeks ago, we are going to have a beach hut over the summer from mid-May through to September, with just 1 week in the middle. But if you want to book in on that, please would you get in touch with Emma or the beach hut email. We're sort of saying initially to people that if you want to book in 1 weekend and maybe a couple of other days, then it gives everybody a chance to use the facility. So please book in on that. There is, oh yes, looking a long way ahead, that the YMCA are doing I've got some charity places for the virtual London Marathon in October, and they've offered some to us if we want to do some joint fundraising. So I don't know whether anybody's particularly in the team is going to want to do that, but you never know. All this sort of 0 to 5k, maybe you've got to 40k by October. But otherwise, if you know people around who might be interested in fundraising for your particular project, then let us know and we'll get some of those information over to you. And then I'll just be really impressed with all the things you're doing over for Easter. The guys in Poole at the food bank at Jimmy's there, they've got some craft packs together which look really creative. I know that in Smileland they're going to have some days out at Longmead Farm, and they're going to organise a sort of a morning or an afternoon for families. And I know there are other ideas. And indeed, Blandford have already used all their shoe vouchers. So there's 26 children who are going to have shoes through that shoe voucher scheme, including one family with 10 children. Can you imagine the shoe bill they must have? So it's great to be able to help families like that. I was just reminded, looking forward to Easter, we're just 2 weeks out now, aren't we? There's an extraordinary bit at the start of the Messages version of Romans 8, and I just want to read this with you to leave it with you. The Spirit of life in Christ has, like a strong wind, magnificently cleared the air, freeing us from a fated lifetime of brutal tyranny at the hands of sin and death. In his Son Jesus, God personally took on the human condition, entered the disordered mess of struggling humanity in order to set it right once and for all. That's real Easter hope. Thank you that you are Easter hope people. Have a good week this week, and we'll talk soon.